There are several books which have been excluded from the canonical Jewish Bible. Some of these rejected works are mentioned in the Bible itself, and some are not. They were excluded from the canon, mostly because they were considered spiritually uninspired, and less because a few were discovered after the canon had been adopted and popularized. When one questions who or what determines whether a scriptural book is inspired or not, one is often met with answers such as, if they are mentioned by a prophet or an apostle, or if they are quoted in the Bible, then they are most likely inspired. If otherwise, then they are not. Unfortunately, this has proven not to be a valid enough answer, as there are many books which are referenced in the Bible, yet they have been termed uninspired, and thus rejected from the canon, cast into the Apocrypha as non-canon. The Book of Enoch is one of such books, thought to be inspired by the scribe, Enoch, and over the years, 3 books have come to be attributed to him. The first is the Ethiopian Book of Enoch, which was translated and taken from numerous sources, such as the manuscripts of Richard Lawrence and R. H. Charles. The second is the Slavonic Book of Enoch, or the Secrets of Enoch, which was discovered in 1886 by Professor Sokolov in the archives of the Belgrade Public Library. And the third is the Hebrew Book of Enoch, which contains a wealth of mystical knowledge, and is claimed to have been written by Rabbi Ishmael, a renowned and scholarly priest who is reputed to have lived between 90 to 130 AD. Many would argue that First Enoch is more credible than the rest. We say that is a matter of personal opinion, if not of racism. As far as we are concerned, each work is as authentic as the other, and deserves equal attention. Thus, without placing one over the other, we shall glide across the 3 books, starting with the first. Shall we begin? The eyes of Enoch, a righteous man, were opened by the Lord, and he saw a vision of the Lord and his angels in heaven, and he heard and saw, and understood everything from them. But what he saw was not for his generation, it was for one which was to come. And he spoke as he saw, that the Great One shall come out of his dwelling place, and shall tread upon the earth, and on Mount Sinai, appearing in all his strength and glory, and all who behold him shall be afraid. The watchers shall shake, and the earth shall tremble to its ends. The mountains shall fall, and the hills shall melt like wax in the flame. The earth shall be torn apart, and all which is on it shall be destroyed, and judgment shall come upon all. But with the righteous he shall make peace. They shall prosper, and he shall protect and bless them. Behold, he shall come with 10,000 of his saints, to execute judgment upon the earth, and to destroy the wicked. He shall convict all flesh of their ungodly ways, and of the things they have spoken against him. When he had seen all of these, Enoch urged the generations to come, saying, Observe everything in the sky, how the luminaries rise and fall in their proper time. See the earth, how steadfast it is. Behold the summer and winter, and the rains and the clouds. In winter, except for 14 trees, all trees wither and shed. And in summer, the earth burns with growing heat, and you seek shade from the heat of the sun. See the green trees, and how they bear fruit, and you shall understand that he who leaves has made them this way. From year to year, his works do not change. Do you not see that rivers and seas follow his commands? And turning to the godless, Enoch spoke, saying, You, who are hard-hearted, you have not held to the commands of the Lord, but you have turned away from him, and spoken against him. And so, you shall find no peace. Cursed shall be your days and your names, and you shall perish and be destroyed without mercy. For all of you who are godless, there shall be a curse. The elect shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness and peace and salvation for them. But for all of you sinners, there shall be no salvation, only curses. The elect shall inherit the earth, and wisdom shall be given to them, that they may never sin again, either through forgetfulness or pride, for they shall be humbled. They shall never again transgress, nor sin, all the days of their lives, nor shall they die of the anger and wrath of the Lord. Their days shall be long, and joyous, and peaceful. Once upon a time, when men had begun to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born unto them, daughters who were fair and beautiful. The angels of the Lord, the sons of heaven, saw that the daughters of men were fair, and began to lust after them. They said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and bear children with them. But Semyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear that you will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall pay the penalty of this great sin. And they all answered him, saying, Let us swear an oath, and bind ourselves by mutual curses, so that we will not abandon this plan, but carry on with it. And so, they swore an oath together, binding themselves by mutual curses. Then they descended in the days of Jared, to the summit of a great mountain, and called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual curses on the act. They were 200 in number, and they were called the Watchers. Their leaders were 20 in number, each one leading a group of 10. These chiefs were called Semyaza, and Azazel, Armaros, and Arachiel, Ezekiel, and Gadriel, Shamshiel, and Kokobel, Sariel, and Penimu, Barakijel and Arakiba, Ramiel, and Danel, Taniel, and Ananel, Turel, and Zakiel, Isael, popularly known as Azrael, and Satanel, popularly known as Samael. The 200 watchers went down, and took wives for themselves, each choosing one for himself. They put on the corruptibility of the flesh, and went in with the women, laying with them, and defiling themselves. The angels taught them magic and spells, and cuttings of the root, and taught them of the herbs and plants. Azazel taught them how to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. He taught them of the metals and precious stones of the earth, and how to work them into ornaments, and various shapes. And he taught them the art of beautification with colors and dyes, and how to adorn the eyelids. Semyaza taught the casting of spells and root cuttings, and Armaros taught counter spells, how to release oneself from spells. Barakijel taught astrology, and Kokobel taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught the knowledge of the clouds, and Arachiel taught the signs of the earth. Shamshiel taught the signs of the sun, and Sariel taught the course of the moon. Gadriel introduced more weapons of war, and Penimu instructed mankind in writing and the secrets of wisdom. And so, the watchers were led astray, and turned away from God. They committed fornication, and became corrupt in all their ways. The women became pregnant, and bore half-angel half-human hybrids, and the hybrids grew to become very large giants, whose heights were 3,000 cubits. These hybrids were called the Nephilim. They were the mighty men of old, the men of renown. The giants consumed all the food and hard labor of men, and when the children of men could no longer sustain them, they turned against mankind, and began to devour them. They sinned not only against men, but also against beasts, and birds, reptiles, and fish, for they devoured their flesh, and drank their blood. With the knowledge the angels taught mankind, mankind sinned from eternity to eternity. On one side, men destroyed men with the knowledge they had been armed, and on the other side, the giants ravaged the lands, devouring everything in sight. Mankind perished, and cried out, and their cries went up to the heavens, and the earth laid accusation against the lawless giants. The archangels Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from the heavens, and saw the much blood being shed on earth, and the lawlessness being done. And they spoke to each other, saying, Let the cries of the destruction of the earth ascend into the gates of heaven. And let us, the holy ones, make our petition, and bring our cause to the Lord. And this, the holy angels did, for they came kneeling before the Lord of ages, and said to him, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages. Your glory endures through all generations, and your name, blessed to all ages. You have made all things, and you have power over all things. You see all things, and nothing hides from you. Look at what Azazel has done. He has taught mankind the secrets which were kept to the heavens, and has caused all unrighteousness on earth. See Semyaza, whom you made leader over his associates. He has taught men enchantments and spells. They have all laid with the daughters of men, and have defiled themselves, revealing to them all kinds of sin. And lo, the women have borne giants, and all the earth has been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, O Lord, behold the souls who have died, as they cry out and make petitions to the heavens. Their cries have ascended the gates of heaven, and will not stop, because of the unlawful acts being done on earth. You see things before they come to pass. You see all these, and you say nothing to us. Tell us, Master, what do we do about these crimes? When the archangels had made their complaints and laid their petitions before the Lord, the great Lord opened his mouth and spoke, declaring doom upon the watchers and their offspring. To Uriel, he said, Uriel, go to Noah, the son of Lamech, and tell him in my name, to hide himself. Reveal to him that the end of the world is approaching, and everything in it shall be destroyed by the flood which is about to come. Instruct him on what he must do, so that his offspring may be preserved for all generations of the world. Speaking to Raphael, the Lord said, Bind Azazel, hand and foot. Split open the desert which is in Dudale, and cast him in there, into the darkness. Cover him with darkness, by filling the hole with rough and jagged rocks. Let him live there forever. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be hurled into the great fire. After this, proclaim healing for the earth which the angels have ruined, for I shall restore the earth, and heal the plague, so that not all the children of men shall perish from the secret things the watchers have disclosed and taught their sons. The whole earth has been corrupted through the works which were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And speaking to Gabriel, the Lord said, Proceed against the bastards and children of fornication. Destroy the children of the watchers. Cause them to go against one another, that they may destroy each other in battle. Shorten their days, that they may live no more than 500 years. But beware, that no request the watchers, their fathers, ask of you, shall be granted. And the Lord said to Michael, Go, bind Semyaza and his team who have laid with women, and defiled themselves. Let them see as their sons slay each other. Then bind them for 70 generations, under the hills of the earth, until the day of the consummation of their judgment. They shall be tormented and confined, in the abyss of fire, forever. And Semyaza shall be burnt up with the condemned, and they shall all be destroyed. Destroy all the spirits of lust, and of the watchers, for they have wronged mankind. Destroy all evil works, and let the earth be planted with righteousness, and truth and joy, forevermore. The righteous shall survive and beget thousands of children, and shall complete their youthful and old days in peace. The whole earth shall be full of righteousness, and shall bear beautiful trees, and the vines shall yield fruit in abundance. You shall cleanse the earth from all oppression and godlessness, and all the nations of the earth shall praise me, and offer me their adoration. They shall all worship me, and shall be cleansed of all defilement and suffering and torment. And I shall never again send another flood, from this generation to all generations, and forever. In those days, I shall open up the storehouse of blessings in heaven, and rain down blessings upon the earth, and the labors of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be united throughout the days of the earth, and throughout the generations of men. The archangels did exactly as they had been commanded, and Azazel and Semyaza were imprisoned. The giants and children of the watchers massacred each other in a great war of the Nephilim, while their fathers were made to watch, after which they themselves were bound. The flood came as was said to come, and wiped out all that was on the earth, preserving only Noah and his family, and every other creature and plant he had sheltered. The earth was born anew, and from Noah many new generations arose. But alas, the new earth, and its new generations, would not turn out to be what the Lord of the angels had said it would be. Enoch disappeared, and none of the children of men knew where he had gone. He lived 365 years on earth, and begat Methuselah, who begat Lamech, who in turn begat Noah. Enoch walked with the Lord, and when his days were complete, he was allowed to ascend into the heavens while he was still alive, and what became of him and his activities were known only by the holy ones and the watchers. As Enoch blessed the name of the King of Ages, he was called by the holy watchers, the holy angels who watch. And they said to him, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go to the watchers who have left heaven, the holy eternal place, and have done as the children of earth do, taking wives for themselves, and defiling themselves. Tell them that they have done great destruction on earth, and that they shall have no peace, nor forgiveness of sin. Since they delight themselves in their children, they shall see the murder and destruction of their children, and they shall lament and make supplication, but they shall receive no mercy. Enoch did as instructed, and said to Azazel, You shall have no peace. A severe sentence has been passed against you. You shall have neither rest, nor mercy, nor shall any of your requests be granted, because of the unrighteousness and all works of godlessness which you have taught and shown to men. When Enoch had spoken to all of the watchers who fell, they were seized with fear. They asked him to make a petition for them in the presence of the Lord of heaven, that they might find forgiveness. They had been condemned, and thus forbidden to speak with the Lord. They were no longer to lift their eyes to the heavens, because of the shame of their sins. Enoch wrote out their petition for forgiveness and forbearance, individually, then sat down at the waters of Dan, which was southwest of Hermon, and read out the petition until he fell asleep. He had a vision of the punishment of the watchers, and a voice instructed him to disapprove of their petition, and rebuke them. When he awoke, he came to the watchers where they sat together in Abel's jail, which is between Lebanon and Senasa. Their faces were covered, and they were weeping. And Enoch recounted to them all he had seen in his vision, and began to reprimand them. He said to them, "The Great One has given me the power to reprimand the watchers, children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision, it appeared that your petition will not be granted to you throughout the days of your eternity, and judgment has finally been passed on you. From here onwards, you shall not ascend into heaven again for all eternity, and you shall be bound on earth for all eternity. But before this, you shall see the destruction of your beloved sons. They shall fall before you by the sword, and no petition on their behalf would be granted, even if you weep and pray and say all the words of my writings." And then he narrated his vision to them, that he was summoned into the clouds, which flashed with lightning, and the winds lifted him up into the heavens. He was taken to a large house, which was built out of crystals, with doors of blazing fire, and surrounded by tongues of fire. The walls of the house were like a mosaic of hailstones, and the floor was as white as snow. The ceiling was like the path of the stars and lightning flashes, and between them were the fiery cherubim. The house was as hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no pleasures or life in it, and Enoch fell on his face out of fear. Then he saw a second house, similar to the first, but greater than the first. Its doors stood open for him, and the house was magnificently built. He beheld a throne set on high. It was made of crystals, and its wheels were like a shining sun, and around it were the cherubim. From underneath the throne flowed a river of fire, and he who is great in glory sat on the throne, his clothing whiter than snow, and brighter than the sun. None of the angels could behold his face because of his magnificence, and a great fire stood in front of him, that no one could draw close. The most holy ones who surround his throne did not leave, day or night, and when Enoch had seen all these, he fell on his face, trembling. And the Great One said to him, "Come here, Enoch, and hear my word." As he said this, one of the holy ones picked Enoch up and brought him to the door, where he bowed before the throne. And the Great One spoke to him, saying, "Do not be afraid, Enoch. Go and tell the watchers for whom you have come to intercede, that they should intercede for men, and not men for them. Why have they left the holy and eternal heaven, and taken women as wives, laying with them, and defiling themselves? They have done like the children of earth, and have begotten giants. They have hardened their hearts, and have revealed the mysteries of heaven to the children of men, and through these mysteries, men and women work much evil on earth. Though they were holy, and living the eternal life, they have defiled themselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And like the children of men, their children have lusted after blood and flesh, like those who die, and are killed. This is why I have given men wives, that they might multiply, and their deeds might continue on the earth. But they, the watchers, are spiritual and immortal for all generations. Therefore, I have not appointed wives for them. They are spiritual beings of heaven, and heaven was their dwelling place. Hear me now. The giants born from the spirit and the flesh shall become evil spirits on earth. At their death, evil spirits shall come out of their bodies, and shall live on earth, because they are born from men and from the holy watchers, and their beginning is of primal origin. They shall be evil spirits, and evil spirits shall they be called. For the spirits of heaven, the heavens shall be their dwelling place. But for the spirits of earth which were born on earth, the earth shall be their dwelling. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men, for they proceeded from them, in the days of slaughter and destruction. At the death of the giants, spirits shall emerge from their corpses, and they shall attack and oppress. They shall afflict and cause trouble on earth, but they shall not be observed. They shall destroy, without incurring judgment, until the day of the great judgment in which all ages shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless. Go now. Tell the watchers as I have told you. They shall have no peace. After the judgment of the watchers and the curse of their sons, Enoch was taken to a place where the angels who were there were like flaming fire. They transformed into the likeness of men whenever they wished. Some of them had fiery bows and arrows and quivers, some wielded fiery swords, and some had weapons of lightning. And Enoch was led on a tour throughout the heavens, and all the secret places of the earth, and throughout the underworld. They brought him to the mountain of a dark place, whose summit reached the heavens. And he beheld the lightning and thunder, and the treasuries of the stars. They went to the waters of life, and the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. They came upon a river of fire, which flowed into a great sea towards the west, and then they arrived at a place where no flesh walks. Enoch saw the frosty mountains of darkness, and a place from where all the waters of the deep flow. He saw the mouths of all the rivers of the earth, and of the deep. He saw the storehouse of all the winds, how the Great One had adorned all his creation with the winds and the firm foundations of the earth. He saw the cornerstone of the earth, and the four winds which support the earth and the heavens, how the winds stretch out the height of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are called the four pillars of heaven. The winds of heaven keep the sun and the stars in their proper places, and the winds on earth carry the clouds. He saw where the earth ends, and where the paths of the angels and firmament begin. Then they went south, to a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east, and 3 to the south, and 1 in the middle. The 3 mountains to the east were of colored stone, and of pearl, and of jacinth, and those to the south were of red stone. The middle one touched the heavens like the throne of the Lord, and was made of alabaster, and its summit was of sapphire. Enoch beheld the great abyss of the earth, which had pillars of heavenly fire, and he saw that the fiery pillars were falling. The height and depth of the abyss were immeasurable. It had no firmament above, and there was no earth beneath it. There was no water on it, and no birds. It was a horrible desert. And there, Enoch saw 7 stars like great burning mountains. And having seen this, he asked, saying, "For what sin are these stars bound? Why have they been cast in here?" And one of the angels questioned him, saying, "Why do you ask? Why are you so eager for the truth? This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and host of heaven, and the stars which roll over the fire are the stars which have transgressed against the commandments of the Lord, because they did not rise and come out at their proper time. The Lord was angry with them, and bound them for 10,000 years, until the time their guilt should be consummated. The angel who spoke was Uriel, and was one of the angels who led Enoch on the tour, alongside Raphael, Michael, and Raguel. And Uriel continued, saying, "The angels who have laid with women, and defiled themselves, shall stand here. And their spirits which assume many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand, until the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged and put to end. And lo, the women of the angels who went astray, shall become sirens." Enoch alone saw all these things that no man shall see as he had seen, and he beheld the holy angels who watch, for not all the watchers fell from grace. Uriel is set over the world of turmoil and terror, and Raphael is set over the spirits of men. Raguel takes vengeance on the world of the Luminaries, and Michael is set over the virtues of men, and over chaos. Serakel is set over spirits who sin, and Ramiel is set over those who rise. Gabriel is set over paradise, and over its cherubim, and over the serpents. The angels took Enoch to another place even more horrible than the former. It was also an abyss of blazing fire, full of falling fiery rocks. He could not see the depth nor the width nor the source of the abyss, and so he said, "I am afraid of this place, and I cannot look at it." And Uriel asked him, "Why are you afraid?" And Enoch answered, "Because it is fearful, and a spectacle of pain." And Uriel said to him, "This is also the prison of the angels, and here shall they be imprisoned forever." With that, they went far off to another place, where there was a great mountain. It had 4 hollow places, which were deep, wide, dark and smooth. And Raphael said to him, "This is where the souls of the dead children of men shall gather. These pits shall receive them, until the day of their judgment, and until the great judgment comes upon them." As he said this, Enoch saw the spirit of a dead man, whose voice went out to heaven, and made petitions. And he asked, "That voice which cries out to the heavens, who is that spirit?" With that, they went far off to another place, where there was a great mountain. It had 4 hollow places, which were deep, wide, dark and smooth. And Raphael said to him, "This is where the souls of the dead children of men shall gather. These pits shall receive them, until the day of their judgment, and until the great judgment comes upon them." As he said this, Enoch saw the spirit of a dead man, whose voice went out to heaven, and made petitions. And he asked, "That voice which cries out to the heavens, who is that spirit?" And Raphael answered, "This is the spirit which went out from Abel, whom his brother, Cain, slew. He files a suit against him, that his offspring be destroyed from the face of the earth, and his children annihilated from among the children of men." And Enoch asked, "These hollow pits, why is one separated from the other?" And Raphael answered, "These 4 divisions have been made so that the spirits of the dead might be separated. One is for the spirits of the righteous, and in there is a bright spring of water. The second is for the spirits of sinners, when they die, and judgment had not been pronounced on them during their lifetime. Here shall they be set apart, in great pain, until the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be punished and tormented and bound forever. The third is for the spirits who make petitions, spirits who make disclosures concerning how they died, who slew them, and when they were slain in the days of sinners. And the last is for sinners who are complete in transgression, and transgressors shall be their companions. Their spirits shall not be destroyed on the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from here. When the angel has said this, Enoch was taken to another place, where he saw a burning fire which never rested, nor stopped. It burned ceaselessly, day and night. And so he asked, "What is this that never stops?" And Raguel, another angel, and one of his tour guides, answered, saying, "This course of fire which you have seen, is the fire of the west, and the fire of all lights of heaven." They continued to another place on the earth, where Enoch saw a great mountain of fire, which also burned day and night. Beyond that mountain were 7 different magnificent mountains of precious stones, 3 to the east, and 3 to the south. The 7th one was in the middle of the rest. It resembled a throne, and was higher than the rest. Around the throne were fragrant trees, and among the fragrant trees was one tree, which was more fragrant and pleasant than the rest. Its fragrance was beyond all fragrance. Its leaves and wood never wither. Its fruits were beautiful, and shaped like the dates of a palm. And Enoch asked, "What kind of tree is this beautiful tree, which is so fragrant and fair in appearance?" And Michael questioned him, saying, "Why do you seek to know about the tree? Why do you wish to know the truth?" And Enoch answered, "I wish to know everything, including this tree." And Michael answered, "This high mountain which you have seen, whose summit is like the throne of God, that is his throne, where the Holy Great One shall sit, when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. As for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it until the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all, and bring everything to its completion forever. Then it shall be given to the righteous and holy, and its fruit shall be food for the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Lord. Then they shall rejoice and be glad, and shall enter into the holy place, and the fragrance shall enter their bones. They shall live long life on earth, and in their days there shall be no sorrow, nor pain, nor torment, nor toil. After he had seen the prison of the souls of the dead, and the tree of life, Enoch was taken to a blessed place in the middle of the earth, where there were trees which had been cut down, yet their branches were still alive and blooming. He saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain was a river in the east, which flowed towards the south. There in the east was another mountain, higher than the former, and between the 2 mountains was a deep and narrow valley. To the west was a 3rd mountain, which had a small elevation, but was smaller than the rest. In between this mountain and the one next to it was a 2nd deep dry valley, and at the edge of the 3 mountains was a 3rd deep dry valley. All 3 valleys were arid, and of hard rocks, with no trees planted on them. And so Enoch asked, "What is the purpose of this blessed land, which is entirely filled with trees? And what is the purpose of this accursed valley between them?" And Uriel said to him, "This valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here shall all the accursed gather together, who utter with their lips words against the Lord, not befitting for his glory, and those who say hard things against him. Here shall they be gathered, and here shall be their place of judgment. In the last days, the righteous shall be the spectators of the righteous judgment upon them, in the presence of the righteous, and the eternal King. And in the days of judgment, they shall bless him for the mercy he has shown unto them. With that, they continued to the east, into the midst of mountains in the desert, where he saw a wilderness. It was solitary, full of trees and plants, and water gushed from above, causing dew and clouds to fall on every side. They went to the east of the mountain range in the desert, where he saw aromatic trees exuding the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh. Going farther, he saw a valley full of water that never ran dry, and trees of various colors and fragrances. He saw other mountains surrounded by groves of trees that flowed with nectar, which is called Sarara and Golbanum. Beyond these mountains and the trees of nectar was another mountain full of aloe trees, with fruits like almonds, and smelled sweeter than any fragrance, when burned. Enoch looked to the north and saw 7 mountains full of fine cinnamon and pepper trees. And the angels took him over the summit of these mountains, far towards the east of the earth, over the Red Sea, and past the angel, Zotil. Then they arrived at the garden of righteousness, a garden full of beautiful trees. Among these numerous trees were 2 trees of great splendor and magnificence unlike any other in the garden. These were the trees of knowledge, whose fruits the first humans ate and acquired wisdom. The tree was like a fir tree in height, and its leaves were like those of a carob tree. Its fruits were like the cluster of grapes. They were beautiful, and had a fragrance which carried far. And Enoch asked, "How attractive is this tree? What tree is it?" Then they arrived at the garden of righteousness, a garden full of beautiful trees. Among these numerous trees were 2 trees of great splendor and magnificence unlike any other in the garden. These were the trees of knowledge, whose fruits the first humans ate and acquired wisdom. The tree was like a fir tree in height, and its leaves were like those of a carob tree. Its fruits were like the cluster of grapes. They were beautiful, and had a fragrance which carried far. And Enoch asked, "How attractive is this tree? What tree is it?" And Raphael answered, "This is the tree of which your father and mother of old, who were your progenitors, ate, and learned wisdom, which caused their eyes to open, so that they knew they were naked, and thus, driven out of the garden." Still on the tour, the angels took Enoch to another place at the ends of the earth, where he saw beasts and birds of different sizes, appearance and beauty. To the east of these animals was a place where the heavens meet the earth. The doors of heaven opened, and out came the stars of heaven. Uriel told Enoch the names of all the stars, and wrote them down for him. He wrote down not only their names, but also their laws and functions. After that, they went to the northern ends of the world, where Enoch saw 3 gates of heaven, which were open. Out of each gate proceeded the winds of the north. When the winds blow, there is cold, frost, hail, snow, dew, and rain. When they blow out of one gate, they blow for the good of all. But when they blow out of the other 2 gates, they blow for violence and torment on the earth, and they blow with force. From the north, they went to the western and southern ends of the earth, and just like in the north, 3 gates opened in each of these regions, and out came winds that brought rain, dew, and cold. When they got to the eastern ends, again, he saw 3 gates open. Above the gates were smaller gates, out of which came the stars of heaven, as they ran their course from the east to the west. After the tour round the mysterious places of the heavens and the earth had ended, Enoch had a second vision. Enoch was the son of Jared, who was the son of Mahalalel, who was the son of Canaan, who was the son of Enos, who was the son of Seth, and who was the son of Adam. He had a vision of wisdom, in which 3 parables were imparted to him, so that he may lift up his voice, and recount them to those who dwell on earth. The first parable would be about the judgment and punishment of sinners. The second parable would be about those who deny the name of the great Lord of the angels, and the third parable would be about the righteous and the elect. The first parable of the first book of Enoch tells of a time when the congregation of the righteous and sinners shall appear, and the sinners shall be judged for their sins, and driven from the face of the earth. The righteous one shall appear before the eyes of the elect, whose works have been weighed by him, and light shall be upon them, the elect and the righteous who dwell on earth. And where will be the dwelling place for sinners? Where will be the resting place for those who deny the Lord of spirits? Perhaps it would be good for them if they had not been born, for when the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed, and the sinners judged, the godless shall be driven from the presence of the elect. From that time onwards, those that possess the earth shall no longer be powerful and mighty, and they shall not be able to look at the face of the holy ones, for the Lord would make his light to appear on the face of the holy. Then the kings and the mighty shall be destroyed, and turned over to the hands of the elect and righteous. From then on, none of them shall seek mercy from the Lord of spirits for themselves, for their life is at an end. And it shall come to pass in those days, that the elect and holy shall descend from the high heavens, and their offspring will become one with the children of men. Enoch was given the books of the wrath and anger of the Lord of spirits, and the books of the turmoil of those who draw his ire. And after that, a whirlwind carried him off to where he saw the dwelling place of the righteous and the elect, that they shall be as bright as fiery lights, and their mouths shall be full of blessings, and their lips shall praise the name of the Lord of spirits. There did Enoch wish to dwell, and there did his spirit long for. In his vision, he saw a multitude who stood before the Lord, and on the 4 sides of the Lord were 4 figures, whom he knew their names, for the angel who was with him told him their names. These 4 figures were the 4 princes of presence. The first one blessed the name of the Lord of spirits, and the second figure blessed the elected one, and the elected ones who depend on the Lord of spirits. The third figure prayed and interceded for those who live on earth, and the fourth figure fended off the Satans, which means the adversaries and accusers, forbidding them to come before the Lord, and accuse those who dwell on earth. So Enoch asked the angel who was with him, saying, "Who are these 4 figures who I have seen, and whose voice I have heard and written down?" And the angel answered, "The first is Michael, the merciful and the long-suffering, and the second is Raphael, the healer who is set over all diseases and wounds of the children of men. The third is Gabriel, who is set over all powers, and the fourth is Phanuel, who is set over repentance, and those who hope to inherit eternal life." Phanuel is sometimes another name for the angel, Uriel. Enoch saw as the kingdom was divided, and how the actions of men were weighed on the scale. He saw the mansions of the elect and of the righteous, and saw as the sinners who had denied the name of the Lord were driven out and dragged off as punishment from the Lord of spirits. He saw the winds, how they are divided to blow over the earth, and the clouds and the dew, where they come from, and how they saturate the dusty earth. He saw the storehouses of the sun and the moon, where they go and their glorious return, how one is superior to the other, and how they do not leave their orbit. The sun goes out first and traverses the path according to the commandments of the Great One, then follows the moon, as it accomplishes its course over the night. Wisdom went out to make her dwelling among men, but found no place, and so returned to the heavens. But unrighteousness went out and found a place to dwell among men, although she sought no one in particular. Enoch saw how the Lord of the angels called the lightning and the stars by their name, and they obeyed him. How they were weighed in the scale, according to the proportions of their light. He saw the days they appear, and how some of the stars transform into lightning. So he asked the angel who was with him, saying, "What are these things which I have seen?" And the angel answered, "The Lord of spirits has shown you their parable. This is what would become of those who dwell on earth, and those who believe in the name of the Lord of spirits, forever and ever." In the second parable of Enoch, the scribe narrates the fate of those who deny the name of the Holy Ones and the Lord of Spirits. It tells that they shall not ascend into heaven, and they shall no more dwell on earth. Such shall be the fate of those who deny the name of the Lord of Spirits, for they shall be preserved for the day of suffering and tribulation. On that day, the elected one shall sit on the throne of glory, and try the works of the righteous, and their souls shall grow strong when they see him. The elected one shall dwell among them, and the earth shall be transformed into a blessing. But the sinners and the evil shall not step on this new earth. The righteous shall be satisfied with peace, and they shall dwell before the Lord of Spirit. But for the sinners, there is impending judgment, so that the Lord of the angels shall destroy them from the face of the earth. Then Enoch saw the Ancient One, whose hair was as white as wool, and beside him was another being, who had the form of a man, but with a face so glorious that he looked like one of the holy angels. And so he asked the angel who was with him, saying, "Who is that being who goes with the Ancient One? Where did he come from?" And the angel answered, "This is the Son of Man with whom dwells righteousness and all things holy. It is he who reveals all treasures of that which is hidden. He is the elected one, the chosen one of the Lord of Spirits. This Son of Man whom you have seen, shall raise the kings and the mighty and the strong from their thrones. He shall loosen the reins of the strong, and break the teeth of the sinners. He shall put down the kings from their thrones and their kingdoms, because they do not exalt and praise him, nor do they acknowledge who bestowed the kingdom onto them. He shall make the strong hang their heads, and shall put them to shame. Darkness shall be their dwelling place, and worms shall be their beds, and they shall have no hopes of rising from their beds, because they do not exalt the name of the Lord of Spirits. They raise their hands against the Great One, and manifest unrighteousness in all their deeds. Their power rests on their riches, and their faith lies in gods they have made with their hands. They deny the name of the Lord of Spirits, and persecute those who depend on him. In those days, the prayer and the blood of the righteous shall be before the Lord, and the holy ones shall pray on behalf of their blood which has been shed, that they may not go in vain, that they may have justice." When he had heard all that the angel said, Enoch looked around and saw many springs of wisdom, from which those who were thirsty drank, and were all made wise. Then the Son of Man appeared, and was named before the Lord of Spirits. Before the sun and the signs were created, he was, and before the stars of heaven were made, he had been named by the Lord of spirits. He is a staff to the righteous, that they may not stumble and fall, and he is the light to the Gentiles, that they may always have hope. And they shall bow down and worship him, and celebrate the Lord of spirits. It is for this reason that he has been chosen by the Lord of spirits, and hidden by him, before the creation of the world. But he has been revealed to the holy and righteous, for it is through him that they shall be preserved. Those who hate unrighteousness and all its works, in his name shall they be saved. In the last days, the kings and the strong who possess the earth shall be shamed, for on the day of their anguish they shall not be able to save themselves. Like straw in the fire, so shall they burn before the face of the holy, and like lead in water, so shall they sink before the face of the righteous, and no trace of them shall be found any more. Behold, on the day of their affliction, there shall be peace on the earth, because they shall be destroyed and shall not rise again, for they have denied the Lord of spirits, and his anointed one. There, unrighteousness will no longer exist, because the elected one stands beside the Lord of spirits. It is he in whom dwells the spirit of wisdom and might. And he shall judge all secret things. But should they turn away from their evil ways, then they shall be saved in his name. Otherwise, on the day of his judgment, the unrepentant shall perish before him. The earth shall give back that which has been entrusted to it, the grave shall return that which it has received, and the fires of hell shall return that which it owes. For in the last days, the dead shall arise, and the anointed one shall choose the righteous and holy among them. For the day they should be saved has come. And the earth shall rejoice, for only the righteous shall dwell and walk on it. The anointed one whom this passage so much speaks of, is the Son of Man, Jesus Christ. And this is the second parable of the first book of Enoch. After the chosen one had been revealed to him, a whirlwind carried Enoch to the west, where he saw the secret things of heaven. He saw a mountain of iron, and of copper, and of silver. He saw a mountain of gold, and of soft metal, and of lead. And he asked the angel who went with him, saying, "What are these?" And the angel answered, "These things you have seen shall serve the authority of the Messiah, that he may be powerful and mighty on earth. Wait a little while, and all secret things shall be revealed to you, things which surround the Lord of spirits. These mountains of precious metals which you have seen, they shall melt like wax before a fire, in the presence of the elected one. Like the water which streams down from above, so shall they be weak under his feet. And it shall come to pass, that none who depend on gold and silver shall be saved. There shall be no iron for war, and no materials for breastplates. Bronze and tin shall be worthless, and lead shall be of no use, so said the angel. Once again, in Hebrew and Jewish teachings, the Messiah, the elected one, and the chosen one, are titles given to and used to describe Jesus Christ. These are only a few out of quite a number of other titles he is known by. After he had heard the angel, Enoch saw a deep valley with its mouth open, and all the earth, and the seas, and the islands, put gifts and all they could bring, into it. Yet, the valley would not be full. This is how the sinners devour without content everything the righteous work at. Thus, they shall perish before the Lord of spirits, and banished from his earth. Enoch looked closely into the valley, and saw all the angels of punishment dwelling there. They were preparing all the instruments of the Satans, the weapons of the adversaries. And so Enoch asked, "For whom are they preparing these instruments?" And the angel answered, "They prepare it for the kings and powerful of the earth, so that they may destroy themselves with it, and so that they may be destroyed by it. And after this, the elected one will appear with his congregation, in the name of the Lord of spirits, and the righteous shall be free from the operation of sinners." When he had heard this, Enoch turned to another part of the earth, and saw another deep valley. But this one was filled with burning fire, and he saw as the kings and powerful of the earth were brought and cast into the burning valley. Looking more closely into this valley, he saw great iron chains of immeasurable weight, and asked the angel, saying, "Who are these chains prepared for?" And the angel answered, "These are being prepared for the hosts of Azazel, so that they may be thrown into the bottom of the pit of hell, and be covered with rough stones, as the Lord of spirits commanded." On that day, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Phanuel shall take hold of them, and throw them into the burning furnace, that the Lord of spirits may take vengeance upon them, for their unrighteousness, and for leading astray those who live on earth. So said the angel. As mentioned before, Phanuel is another name for Uriel. And after the angel had spoken, the passage goes on to briefly narrate the event of the great flood, which happened in the days of Noah, after Enoch had ascended into the heavens. In the time of Noah, the Lord of spirits opened all the storehouses of the waters above heaven, and the fountains under the surface of the earth, joining the waters of the heavens with the water beneath the earth, the water above the sky being masculine, and the waters beneath the earth being feminine. With their joint ferocity, the waters destroyed all who lived on dry land, and everything under the ends of heaven. After all had been destroyed, the Lord of spirits repented from his actions, and swore by his great name, saying, "I have destroyed all those who dwell on earth, yet it is to no avail. I shall not do this again to them. I shall set a sign in the skies, and it shall be my covenant with them, as long as the heaven is above the earth." And it was done. The Lord of spirits set a rainbow in the skies, as a sign of his covenant, to never again destroy the earth by the flood. But speaking to those who displease him, the Lord of spirits said, "My angels shall take hold of them on the day of tribulation, and I shall unleash my punishment and wrath upon them. You, the mighty kings of the earth, you shall watch my elected one sit on the throne of glory, and judge Azazel and all his associates. All shall be judged by him, in my name." With that, Enoch saw as the angels of punishment went forth, holding scourges and chains of iron and bronze. And he asked the angel, saying, "Where are they going to? Who are they going to scourge?" And the angel answered, "Each angel is going to the one they have chosen, and to their loved ones, that they may all be cast into the abyss in the valley. The valley shall be filled with those they chose, as well as their loved ones. Their lives shall be at an end, and their days shall no longer be counted. The angels shall march to the east of the Parthians and Medes, and they shall stir up the kings, so that they may rush out like lions from their dens, and like wolves from their pack. A restless spirit shall descend upon them, and they shall go up and trample all lands. But they shall not touch the city of the righteous ones. They shall turn against themselves, and by their own hands shall they fall. Man shall not know his brother, nor shall son know his father or mother, until there are corpses everywhere, until they have slaughtered themselves. Then the pit of hell shall open its jaws, and swallow them up. And their destruction shall be final. The fires of hell shall devour the sinners in the presence of the righteous. And all shall fall down, and worship the Lord of spirits, The third parable concerns the righteous ones. Blessed are they, for glorious shall be their lot. They shall be in the light of the sun, and their days shall be unending. The days of the holy shall be without number, and peace shall be unto them in the name of the Lord of spirits. And there shall be light that never ends, as darkness should have been vanquished. In this parable, Enoch witnessed a mighty quake terribly shake the heavens, disrupting its tranquility with a feeling of impending doom. The Lord of spirits sat on his throne of glory, surrounded by his angels. But Enoch fell to the ground, trembling with fear, for he could not endure the look of the holy ones, and the shaking of the heavens. Thus, Michael beckoned one of the angels to help him up, and as the angel raised him to his feet, his spirit was strengthened. And Michael said to him, "Does what you see disturb you? Why is that? Has his mercy not lasted towards those who dwell on earth, until this day?" And with that, Enoch was shown that the day has been prepared when the might of the punishment and judgment of the Lord shall descend upon those who do not worship the righteous law, and those who deny the righteous judgment, and those who take his name in vain. It shall be a covenant for the elect, but for sinners it shall be an inquisition. When the punishment of the Lord of spirits shall rest upon them, it shall not come in vain. It shall slay the children with their mothers, and the children with their fathers. For that day, 2 monsters have been kept, bred separately from one another. A female monster named Leviathan, which dwells in the abyss of the ocean, over the fountains of the waters, and a male monster named Behemoth, which occupies a wasted wilderness, called Duodain, which is situated to the east of the Garden of the Righteous, where Enoch's great-grandfather and the first man, Adam, was created by the Lord of spirits. This garden spoken of here is the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve dwelt during their years of innocence. And so, Enoch spoke to the angel who was with him, saying, "Show me the might of these monsters, the one in the abyss of the sea, and the one on the desert of the earth." And the angel said to him, "Son of man, you wish to know that which is hidden. Then you shall." And so they began their journey to the abode of the monsters of the day of doom. On their way, Enoch saw the spirits of the sea, and of frost, and of rain, and of dew. The spirit of the sea was masculine and strong, and pulled his might back and forth with the rain, dispersing the sea waters in the midst of the mountains of the earth. The spirit of snow was an angel, who almost never stayed in its storehouse. It ascended and descended like a smoke, and its name was Frost. The spirit of dew and mist was also an angel, who dwelt at the ends of heaven, and worked hand in hand with the spirit of rain. And when the spirit of rain was ready to come out of its storehouse, the angels laid open the doors for it, as it diffused over the whole earth, uniting with the waters of the earth. When the waters of the heavens unite with the waters of the earth, they bring nourishment to the earth from the Most High. Then Enoch and the angel arrived at the lair of the 2 monsters, and lo, he saw the terrible beasts, the Leviathan and the Behemoth, who were being prepared in accordance with the will of the Lord of spirits. And the angel said to him, "These 2 monsters will execute the punishment of the Lord, and children will be killed with their mothers, and sons with their fathers." After he had seen the Leviathan and the Behemoth, Enoch saw as the angels were given long cords, and as they took to their wings, and flew north. And so he asked the angel who was with him, saying, What are those cords for? Why have the angels who have the cords taken flight? And the angel answered, They have gone to take measurements of the righteous, that they may be saved in the name of the Lord of spirits. These measurements shall reveal the secrets of the depths of the earth. They shall reveal the righteous ones who have been destroyed by the deserts, and those who have been destroyed by the beasts of the lands, and those who have been destroyed by the fish of the sea, so that they may return on the day of the Lord, and shall not be destroyed, nor can they be destroyed any more. When the righteous shall arise, they shall bless the Lord of spirits with their first words, and exalt him in their wisdom. And the Lord of spirits shall place his elected one on the throne of glory, and he shall weigh the deeds of the righteous in the scale. Then he shall lift up his face to judge their secret ways, according to the word of the Lord of spirits. He shall summon all the hosts of heaven, all those who do not sleep, and with one voice they shall exalt the name of the Lord of spirits. With that, Enoch was shown as the Lord commanded the kings and powerful of the earth, saying, Open your eyes and lift up your horns, if you're able to recognize the elected one. And the Lord of spirits seated him on the throne of glory, and filled him with the spirit of righteousness, that the words of his mouth shall slay all sinners, and all unrighteousness shall be destroyed in front of his face. On that day, the kings and mighty of the earth shall watch as the chosen one sits on the throne of glory, and no lying word shall be spoken before him. The pain of judgment shall come upon them, like a woman in labor. They shall look at one another, and they shall look downcast, terrified and seized with fear. And they shall exalt him who rules over all, he who was hidden. For the Son of Man was hidden from the beginning, preserved by the Most High, and revealed to the righteous ones. And they shall stand before him on that day, the kings and mighty of the earth, and they shall fall on their faces and worship that Son of Man. They shall plead and supplicate for mercy at his hands, but the Lord of spirits shall drive them from his presence, and they shall be filled with shame. He shall deliver them to the angels of punishment, that they might execute his vengeance upon them, because they have oppressed his children, the righteous ones. Their fate shall be a spectacle for the righteous, and the sword of the Lord shall be drunk with their blood. And the righteous shall never again see the face of the sinners. They shall eat, lie down and rise up with the Son of Man, forever and ever. In the teachings of the Christians and the Jews, this chosen one, this Son of Man whom the Lord of spirits shall place on the throne of glory, on the day of judgment, refers to Jesus Christ, known to the Hebrews as Yeshua, the Savior who was hidden from the beginning, revealed on earth to the righteous ones of his time, and the time which is to come. And they shall stand before him on that day, the kings and mighty of the earth, and they shall fall on their faces and worship that Son of Man. They shall plead and supplicate for mercy at his hands, but the Lord of spirits shall drive them from his presence, and they shall be filled with shame. He shall deliver them to the angels of punishment, that they might execute his vengeance upon them, because they have oppressed his children, the righteous ones. Their fate shall be a spectacle for the righteous, and the sword of the Lord shall be drunk with their blood. And the righteous shall never again see the face of the sinners. They shall eat, lie down and rise up with the Son of Man, forever and ever. In those days, the mighty and the kings who possess the earth shall beg him to grant them a little rest from his angels of punishment to whom they were delivered, that they might fall down and worship the Lord of spirits, that they may confess their sins before him. And they, the kings and mighty of the earth, shall say, Blessed is the Lord of spirits and the Lord of kings, the Lord of the mighty and the Lord of the rich, the Lord of glory and the Lord of wisdom. Every secret is revealed in front of you. Your power is from generation to generation, and your glory forever and ever. Deep and countless are all your secrets, and your righteousness is beyond words. We have now learned that we should glorify and bless the Lord of kings, who is king over all kings. Would we have a little relief from this torture, so that we may give thanks and confess our faith before his glory? We long for a little rest, but cannot find it. We have been driven away, and cannot obtain it. The light has vanished before us, and darkness is now our dwelling place, because we did not believe in him, nor did we glorify the name of the Lord. Because our hope was in the scepter of our kingdom, and in our own glory. Now, the day of our suffering and tribulation has come, and he does not save us, nor do we find rest from our suffering, to confess that the Lord is true in all his works. Behold, his justice and judgments have no respect for persons. We passed before his face, and were judged according to our righteousness. Our souls were full of unrighteous wealth, yet that wealth has not prevented us from descending into the torment of hell. And there, the passage concludes, that even after the kings shall plead and beg, they shall be driven from the presence of that Son of Man, their faces covered in shame. They shall be filled with darkness, and the sword shall be their portion. And the Lord of spirits spoke, saying, This is the judgment of the mighty and the kings, and those who possess the earth. And thus shall be their fate before the Lord of spirits. In the days of Noah, at that time the great flood was nigh. Noah saw how the earth had sunken down, and knew that its end and destruction was near. Terrified, he went to the ends of the earth, and cried out to his grandfather, Enoch. And with an embittered voice, he said, Hear me, hear me. Tell me, what is this that is befalling the earth? Why is the earth shaken, and in such a terrible plight? Will I perish with it? And his cries were heard, for Enoch came down from the heavens and stood by his grandson, saying, Why do you cry and weep? Why are you in bitter tears? A command has come from the Lord, concerning those who dwell on the earth, that their days are at an end, because they have learned all the secrets of the angels, and all the violence of the Satans. They have learned all their powers, even the most secret ones, the power of sorcery, the power of witchcraft, and the power to make molten images. How silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how soft metal originates from the earth. With that, Enoch took hold of his grandson's hand, and lifted him up, saying to him, Go. For I have asked the Lord of spirits about this disturbance on the earth, and he revealed to me that because of their unrighteousness, their judgment has been determined, and shall not be withheld. Because of the sorceries which they have learned, the earth and those who dwell on it shall be destroyed. They have been shown what was hidden, and for that they are damned. But as for you, my son, the Lord of spirits knows that you are pure and guiltless of this reproach concerning the secrets. And he has destined your name to be among the holy, and will preserve you among those who dwell on the earth. He has promised to preserve your righteous seed, both for kingship and for great honors. And from your seed shall come a fountain of the righteous and holy, without number, forever. And so, Enoch showed Noah the angels of punishment, who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction upon all who dwell on the earth. And the Lord God came to Noah and said to him, Noah, your lot has come up before me, a lot without blame, a lot of love and righteousness. My angels are making a wooden structure, and when they have completed that task, I will place my hand on it, and keep it safe, and there shall come out of it the seed of life, and a change shall set in, so that the earth will not remain without inhabitants. I will establish your seed before me, forever and ever, and I will spread abroad those who dwell with you, and the face of the earth will be fruitful. They shall be blessed and multiply on the earth, in my name. And after the Lord of Spirits had spoken, Enoch revealed to Noah the secrets of his parables, showing him that burning valley, where those angels who have shown unrighteousness to men shall be imprisoned. He showed him the streams of fiery molten metal, and the lake of fire, from which arose the smell of sulfur. There will they be punished, those angels who are full of lust, those spirits who have denied the Lord of Spirits. The holy angels themselves began to feel pity for their damned brethren, for Michael spoke to Raphael, saying, The power of the Lord grips me, and makes me tremble, because of the severity of the judgment of the angels. Who can endure such severe judgment, before which they shall be melted away? Who would not have a softened heart concerning it? And whose mind would not be troubled by this judgment against them? But I will not defend them under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of Spirits is angry with them, because they acted as if they were the Lord. Therefore, no other angel or man shall have his portion in this damnation. They alone shall endure the consequences of their actions forever and ever. The chapter 69 of the Book of Enoch once again tells us the names of the chiefs of those angels who taught the children of men the forbidden knowledge, and the very skills they taught them, thereby instigating in their hearts the desire for sinful crimes. And so, behold the names of those angels. The first of them is Semyaza, the second, Azazel, and the third, Aspiel. The fourth is Kokabel, the fifth, Jegan, and the sixth, Gadriel. The seventh is Penemu, the eighth, Artakepha, and the ninth, Barakiel. The 10th is Castija, the 11th, Amaros, and the 12th, Barakijal. The 13th is Arman, the 14th, Honanel, the 15th, Sariel, and the 16th is Shamsiel. The 17th is Jetrel, the 18th, Ezekiel, the 19th, Arakiel, and the 20th, Rumael. These are the names of the chiefs of those angels, the leaders over the hundreds and fifties and tens that went astray. Jegan persuaded them to descend to the earth, and to mingle with the daughters of men. Aspiel aided Jegan by further imparting evil counsel to the holy sons of God, encouraging them to defile their bodies with the daughters of men. Gadriel revealed all the blows of death, for he introduced to the children of men all weapons of death, the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle. And so, from his hands, men have slaughtered themselves from that day, and forevermore. The Book of Enoch also cites that it was Gadriel who led Eve astray. Perhaps, it meant that it was he who led the children of Eve astray. Penemu taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet of the secrets of angelic wisdom. He instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper. And so, many sinned, from eternity to eternity and until this day, for men were not created for the purpose of confirming their good faith with pen and ink. For men were created exactly like the angels, that they should continue pure and righteous, and that death should not have taken hold of them. But through this knowledge, they are perishing, and the power they do not know how to handle consumes them. Castija taught the children of men spiritual warfare and dark magic. He showed them the wicked blows of the spirits and demons, and how to smite the embryo in the womb, that it may be eliminated. He showed them how to smite the soul of the mortal man, and taught them the ways of the serpent. Asbiel did not only aid Jegan in imparting evil counsel to the rest of the angels, he also broke his sacred vow, by revealing to the sons of men the almighty power of the sacred oath of heaven. This was the task of Asbiel, the chief and keeper of the oath known as the Lord's Word. For he was entrusted with showing the power of this oath to the holy ones, to the sons of God who dwelt high above in glory, and not to the sons of men. Through the power of this oath, the earth was born from the waters, and the world and eternity was created. Through this oath, the sun, the moon and the stars complete their course and do not deviate from their ordinances. The voices of thunder and the light of lightning are preserved, and the Lord calls them by their names, and they answer him. For this oath is mighty over creation, and through it, all of creation is preserved.
The Son of Man sat on the throne of his glory, and the sum of judgment was given to him. And there was great joy among the selected, and they blessed and glorified and exalted the Son of Man, because the name of that Son of Man had been revealed to them. And he caused the sinners and all those who led the world astray to pass away and be destroyed from off the face of the earth. They shall be bound with chains, and shut up and imprisoned in their place of assembly, and all their works will vanish from the face of the earth. From that time forward there shall be nothing corruptible, for that Son of Man has appeared and has seated himself on the throne of his glory. All evil shall pass away before his face, and the word of that Son of Man shall reign supreme. It would happen that during his lifetime his name would be raised up to the title of the Son of Man and Lord of Spirits by those who dwell on the earth. He would be raised aloft on the chariots of the spirits and vanish from among the children of men. Still on his tour of the heavens and the earth, Enoch the scribe was carried by the winds of the north and the west to where the angels took the cords to measure the place for the elect and righteous. And there he saw the first fathers, the righteous elders who had dwelt in that place from the beginning. Then Enoch was carried farther into the heavens, where he saw a palace built of crystals, and between those crystals were tongues of living fire, and on its four sides were rivers of fire which encircled that house. And round about the palace were the seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim. These are the ones who do not sleep but guard the throne of glory. The angels he saw there could not be counted, for there were tens of thousands encircling that house. Finally, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel came out of the house towards Enoch, accompanied by many angels. And with them came the head of days, his head as white and pure as wool, and his garment indescribable. And when Enoch saw the head of days, he fell on his face, and his whole body melted, and his spirit was transfigured. With a loud voice he glorified and exalted the head of days, and these blessings which proceeded from his mouth were pleasing before the head of days. Then an angel greeted Enoch and spoke to him of the head of days, saying, Behold the Son of Man who is born unto righteousness, and righteousness abides over him, and righteousness forsakes him not. He proclaims to you peace in the name of the world to come. For from there peace has proceeded since the creation of the world, and it shall be with you for ever and ever. All shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsook him. Their dwelling place shall be with him, and it will be their heritage, and they shall not be separated from him for ever and ever. There shall be long life with the Son of Man, and the righteous shall have peace and an upright way, in the name of the Lord of Spirits, for ever and ever. After he had seen the Son of Man and Head of Days, Enoch is taken to another part of the heavens, where he sees the Luminaries and talks about their courses and relations according to their name, origin, and months, dominion, and seasons. Archangel Uriel was the guide of the Luminaries, and so it was he who guided Enoch this time, showing him all the laws and regulations of the Luminaries exactly as they are. The first of the Luminaries is called the Sun, and the sun has its rising in the eastern doors of heaven, and its setting in the western doors of heaven. And Enoch saw 6 doors in which the sun rises, and 6 doors in which the sun sets. The moon also rises and sets in these doors, as well as the stars which they lead, each one following the other in corresponding order. Each of these doors also bore many windows to their right and left, and the sun traversed these doors and windows as it rose from the east and set in the west, until it had accomplished its daily course. And according to its set course, some days are longer and the nights shorter, and some nights are longer and the days shorter. This great luminary called the sun resembles a great orb filled with illuminating and heating fire. It ascends and descends on a chariot driven by the wind. As he rises, so he sets and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night, his light 7-fold brighter than that of the moon. The sun has 2 names. The first name is Orjaris, and the second is Thomas. The second luminary is a smaller luminary called the moon. Her orbit is like a sphere, and she also rides in a chariot driven by the wind as she completes her daily and monthly course, and light is given to her in measurement. Her rising and setting change every month, and her days are like the days of the sun, and when her light is completely full, it amounts to the 7th part of the light of the sun. In single 7th parts she accomplishes all her light in the east, and in single 7th parts she accomplishes all her darkness in the west. In certain months she alters her settings, and in certain months she pursues her own peculiar course. Then Uriel showed Enoch how light is transferred to the moon by the sun, and on which side it is transferred to her by the sun. During the beginning of the month, the moon grows in on the light transferred to her by the sun until the 14th day, when she is at her peak. On that 14th day, she is directly opposite to the sun and is ablaze throughout, and her light is full in heaven. On that day, she is called the full moon. After this, she gradually wanes until all the light vanishes, and all the days of the month are at an end, and her sphere becomes empty, void of light. The moon has 4 names. The first name is Asonia, and the second name is Ebla. The third name is Benasse, and the 4th name is Ire. Thus Enoch had seen their positions, and how the sun and the moon rose and set in those days. After learning about the sun and the moon, Enoch looked to the far ends of the earth, to where the earth meets the heavens, and saw 12 doors stationed at the quarters of heaven, from which, when open, the winds go out and blow over the earth. 3 of the doors are stationed in the east, 3 in the west, 3 in the north, and 3 in the south. Through 4 of these come winds of blessing, peace, and prosperity, and from those 8 come the hurtful winds. When these hurtful winds are sent, they bring destruction on all the earth and the water on it, and on all who dwell on it, and on everything which is in the water and on the land. The 3 winds that come out of the 3 doors in the east are called the east winds. The first east wind comes out through the first door, inclining towards the south, and it brings desolation, drought, heat, and destruction. The second east wind comes out through the second door in the middle, and it brings rain, fruitfulness, prosperity, and dew. And the third east wind comes out through the third door, which inclines toward the north, and it brings cold and drought. These are the 3 doors of the east, and the 3 east winds and what they do. The 3 winds that come out of the 3 doors in the south are called the south winds. The first south wind comes out through the first door, inclining towards the east, and it brings hot wind. The second south wind comes out through the second door in the middle, and it brings fragrant smells, dew, rain, prosperity, and health. And the third south wind comes out through the third door, which inclines toward the west, and it brings heavy rain, locusts, and desolation. These are the three doors of the south, and the three south winds and what they do. The three winds that come out of the three doors in the north are called the north winds. The first north wind comes out through the first door, inclining towards the east, and it brings dew, rain, locusts, and desolation. The second south wind comes out through the second door in the middle, and it brings health and rain and dew and prosperity. And the third south wind comes out through the third door, which inclines toward the west, and it brings hoarfrost, snow, rain, dew, and locusts. These are the three doors of the north and the three north winds and what they do. And finally, the three winds that come out of the three doors in the west are called the west winds. The first west wind comes out through the first door, inclining towards the north, and it brings dew, hoarfrost, cold, snow, and frost. The second west wind comes out through the second door in the middle, and it brings dew, rain, prosperity, and blessing. And the third west wind comes out through the third door, which inclines toward the south, and it brings drought, desolation, wildfires, and destruction. These are the three doors of the west and the three west winds and what they do. And these are the 12 doors of the 4 quarters of heaven and all their plagues and benefactions. And now Enoch explains more about the 4 quarters themselves. He says the first quarter is called the east because it is the first, and the second quarter is called the south because the Most High will descend there, for it is from the south that he who is blessed forever will descend. The west quarter is called the diminished, because it is there that all the luminaries of the heavens wane and go down. And the fourth quarter is named the north, and is divided into 3 parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second contains the abyss and the great deep, the seas, forests and rivers, darkness and clouds, and the third part contains the garden of righteousness. In this northern quarter did Enoch see 7 mountains higher than all the mountains which are on the earth, and 7 rivers larger than all the rivers on earth, with one river pouring into the great sea, while another pours into the Erythraean sea. When Enoch had seen and known about the luminaries and winds of the 4 quarters of heaven, the Archangel Uriel said to him, "Behold, I have shown you everything, Enoch, and I have revealed everything to you that you should see, the sun and the moon, the leaders of the stars of heaven and all those who turn them, their tasks and times and departures. In the days of the sinners the years shall be shortened, and the growth of the seeds of crops shall be delayed in their lands and fields. All things on the earth shall alter, and shall not appear in their time, and the rain shall be kept back, for heaven shall withhold it. In those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time, and the fruits of the trees shall be withheld in their time. The moon shall alter her customs, and not appear at her time, and when the sun is seen, he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. Many rulers of the stars shall transgress their customary order. They shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at the seasons prescribed to them. And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners, and the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them. They shall err and take them to be gods, and evil shall be multiplied on them, and punishment shall come on them so as to destroy all." Then Uriel again said to Enoch, "Look at these heavenly tablets and read what is written on them, and mark every individual fact." And Enoch looked at the heavenly tablets and read everything which was written on it, and understood everything. He read the book of all the deeds of mankind, and of all the children of flesh who will be on the earth to the end of generations. And he blessed and exalted the great Lord, the King of glory forever, who has made all the works of the world. Then Enoch said, "Blessed is the man who dies in righteousness and goodness, concerning whom there is no book of unrighteousness written, and against whom no day of judgment shall be found. With this, the 7 holy angels brought Enoch back to earth, and placed him at the door of his earthly house, and said to him, "Declare everything to your son Methuselah, and show to all your children that no flesh is righteous in the sight of the Lord, for he is their creator. For 1 year we will leave you with your son until you give your last commands, that you may teach your children and record it for them, and testify to all your children. Then in the 2nd year we shall take you from their midst. Let your heart be strong, for the good shall proclaim righteousness to the good. The righteous shall rejoice with the righteous, and shall wish one another well. But the sinners shall die with the sinners, and the apostate shall go down with the apostate, and those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the deeds of men, and be taken away on account of the deeds of the godless." Having said this, the holy ones departed, and Enoch went about doing what he was told, and he said to his son, "My son Methuselah, all these things I am recounting to you, and writing down for you, all these things that I have revealed to you, and given you books concerning them. Preserve them, preserve the books from your father's hand, and see that you deliver them to the generations of the world. I have given wisdom to you and to your children, and those children to come, that they may give it to their children for generations. Let this wisdom enrich their understanding, and those who understand it shall not sleep, but shall listen that they may learn this wisdom, and it shall please those who seek to eat that which is better than good food. Blessed are all the righteous, blessed are all those who walk in the way of righteousness and commit no sin like the sinners. As for the account of the luminaries and months and festivals and years and days, Uriel has shown and revealed to me, he whom the Lord of the whole creation of the world has put in charge of the host of heaven, he who has power over night and day, to cause the light to shine on men via the sun, moon and stars, and all the powers of the heaven which revolve in their circular chariots. He has revealed to me the names of those who lead the stars of heaven, who watch that they perform at their times, in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, in their periods of dominion, and in their positions. Their 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year enter first, and after them come the 12 leaders of the orders who divide the 12 months, and for the 364 days there are heads over thousands who divide the days. The names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts or seasons of the year are Helemelech, Melchijal, Narel and Michiel, who is possibly the angel known as Michael, and each of the days of dominion of these 4 leaders lasts approximately 91 days. In the beginning of the year, Melchijal rises first and rules. The signs of the days of his dominion are sweating, heat and calms, and the harvest of wheat. In his time, all the trees bear fruit, and leaves are produced on the trees. Flowers like the rose flower, as well as other flowering plants in the field, blossom, but the trees of the winter season become withered. In the same vein, for the 2nd leader called Helemelech, the signs of the days of his dominion on earth are glowing heat and dryness. The trees ripen their fruits and are ready to be plucked. The sheep pair and become pregnant, and all the fruits of the earth are gathered in, as well as everything that is in the fields.
Still talking to his son about all he had witnessed during his tour around the heavens, Enoch said to Methuselah, "And now, my son Methuselah, I shall tell you of my visions. I saw 2 visions quite unlike any other. The first when I was learning to write, and the second before I married your mother. The second was a terrible vision, and regarding them I prayed to the Lord. I had laid down in the house of my grandfather Mahalalel, when I saw in a vision how the heavens collapsed and fell to the earth, and when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in a great abyss, and mountains were suspended on mountains, and hills sank down on hills, and high trees were ripped from their stems and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. And I lifted up my voice and cried aloud and said, 'The earth is destroyed.' And my grandfather Mahalalel woke me as I lay near him and said to me, "Why do you cry so, my son? And why do you make such lamentation?" And I recounted to him the whole vision which I had seen, and he said to me, "You have seen a terrible thing, my son. Your dream is of a grave time and concerns the secrets of all the sin of the earth. It must sink into the abyss and be totally destroyed. And now, my son, arise and pray to the Lord of glory, since you are a believer, that a remnant may remain on the earth, and that he may not destroy the whole earth. For from heaven all this will come upon the earth, and on the earth there will be great destruction." And so I, Enoch, arose and prayed and implored and besought God, and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, and I will show everything to you, my son Methuselah. After praying about my vision, when I had gone out and seen the heaven, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the west, and the stars and the whole earth just as it is, I lifted up my hands and blessed the Holy and Great One, saying, "Blessed be you, O Lord King, great and mighty in your greatness, Lord of the whole creation of heaven, King of kings and God of the whole world. For you have made and you rule all things. Nothing is too hard for you. Wisdom never departs from the place of your throne, nor turns away from your presence. You know and see and hear everything, and there is nothing hidden from you, for you see everything. And now the angels of your heavens are guilty of trespass, and on the flesh of men abide your wrath until the great day of judgment. I implore and beseech, O Lord and great King, to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a posterity on earth, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without inhabitant, that there should be an eternal destruction. My Lord, destroy from the earth the flesh which has aroused your wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as an eternal plant bearing seed forever, and hide not your face from the prayer of your servant, O Lord." And after this I had another dream. In that vision, a white bull came out from the earth. After it came out a heifer, and along with the heifer came two bulls, one of them black and the other red. Then that black bull gored the red one and pursued him over the earth, and I could no longer see that red bull. But that black bull grew bigger, and the heifer went with him, and I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. Later, however, the heifer, now a cow, went away from the presence of the black bull to seek that red one, but found him not, and mourned and sought him. And the first bull, that white one, came to her and calmed her, and from that time onward she cried no more. And after that she bore many bulls and cows, white and black. And that first white bull likewise grew and became a great white bull, and from him proceeded many white bulls which resembled him. And the younger white bulls fathered many white calves, which resembled them, one following another. Then behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose and ate and pastured among those oxen. And the large black bulls all changed their stalls and pastures and their heifers, and began living with each other. And again I looked towards heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star, and those stars became bulls among the herd of cattle and oxen, and pastured with them. Then those stars which became bulls all let out their sexual members that looked like those of horses, and began to mount the heifers and cows of the oxen, and they all became pregnant and bore elephants, camels, and donkeys. The other oxen feared them, and were frightened of them, and began to bite with their teeth, and to devour, and to gore with their horns. They began to devour those oxen, and behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and shake before them, and to flee from them. They gored each other and devoured each other, and the earth began to cry aloud. Then I raised my eyes again to heaven, and behold, there came out from heaven beings who were like white men. 4 came out first, and 3 others followed them. And those 3 that had come out last grasped me by my hand and took me up, away from the generations of the earth, and raised me up to a high place, and showed me a tower raised high above the earth, and all the hills were lower. Then one of them said to me, "Remain here until you see everything that befalls those elephants, camels, and donkeys, and the stars that became oxen, and all of the herd." And I saw one of those 4 white men who had come out first, as he seized that first star which had fallen from heaven and bound it hand and foot and cast it into an abyss so narrow and deep and horrible and dark. Then another of the white men drew a sword and gave it to those elephants and camels and donkeys, and the animals began to smite each other, and the whole earth shook because of them. And as I watched, another of those first 4 white men who had come out stoned them from heaven. They gathered and took all the great stars whose sexual members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and threw them in an abyss of the earth. Then the last one of those 4 went to that white bull and instructed him in a secret, and the white bull was terrified. He was born a bull and became a man, and built for himself a great vessel and dwelt on it, and 3 other bulls dwelt with him in that vessel, and they were covered over. And again I raised my eyes towards heaven and saw a high roof with 7 water torrents on it, and those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. Fountains were opened on the surface of that great enclosure, and the water began to bubble and swell and rise on the surface until all the surface of that enclosure was covered with water. The water, darkness and mist increased on it, and the height of the water rose above the height of the enclosure and was streaming over it as it stood on the earth. And all the animals that were in the enclosure sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that great vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen and elephants and camels and donkeys sank to the bottom with all the other animals, that I could no longer see them. They were not able to escape but perished and sank into the depths. I watched until those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and the chasms of the earth were levelled up, and other abysses were opened. Then the water began to run down into these abysses, until the earth became visible, and the darkness retired, and light appeared, but that vessel settled on the earth. Then that white bull which had become a man came out of that vessel, along with the 3 bulls with him. And one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and the other black. And that white bull departed from them. They began to bring out beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different generations of lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens. And among them was born a white bull, and the animals began to bite one another. But that white bull which was born among them fathered a wild donkey, and a white bull with it. And the wild donkeys multiplied. The white bull which was born from him fathered a black wild boar and a white sheep, and the former fathered many boars. But the sheep gave birth to 12 sheep. And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the donkeys, and the donkeys again gave up that sheep to the wolves, and that sheep grew up among the wolves. And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it, and to pasture with it among the wolves, and they multiplied and became many flocks of sheep. And the wolves began to fear them, and oppress them, until they destroyed their little ones, and threw their young into a deep river. And those sheep began to cry aloud on account of their little ones, and to complain to their Lord. And a sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled and escaped to the wild donkeys. And I saw the sheep how they lamented and cried, and besought their Lord with all their might, until that Lord of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from a high abode, and came to them and pastured them. The Lord called that sheep which had escaped the wolves, and spoke with it concerning the wolves, that it should admonish them not to touch the sheep any more. And that sheep went to the wolves according to the word of the Lord, and another sheep met it and went with it. And the 2 went and entered together into the assembly of those wolves, and spoke with them, and admonished them not to touch the sheep from then on. However, the wolves more harshly oppressed the sheep with all their power, and the sheep cried aloud. And the Lord came to the sheep, and they began to beat those wolves, and the wolves began to make lamentation. But the sheep became quiet, and ceased to cry out. And I saw the sheep until they departed from among the wolves. But then the eyes of the wolves were blinded, and the wolves went in pursuit of the sheep with all their power, and the Lord of the sheep went with them as their leader, and all his sheep followed him. His face was dazzling and glorious and terrible to behold. The wolves began to pursue those sheep until they reached a sea of water. That sea was divided, and the water stood on the left and right side before their face, and their Lord led them and placed himself between them and the wolves. And as those wolves had not yet seen the sheep proceeded into the midst of that sea. Then the wolves followed the sheep and ran after them into that sea. And when the wolves saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned to flee before his face, but that sea gathered itself together and became as it had been created, and the water swelled and rose until it covered the wolves. All the wolves who pursued those sheep perished and were drowned. On the other hand, the sheep escaped unscathed from that water and went out into the wilderness, where there was no water and no grass. And I saw the Lord of the sheep pasturing them and giving them water and grass, and that elected sheep was leading them. The Lord of the sheep appeared before his sheep, and they all feared and trembled because of him, for his appearance was great and terrible and majestic, and all those sheep saw him and were afraid before his face. They said to their leader, "We are not able to stand before our Lord or to behold him." And so their leader ascended to the summit of that rock to speak with the Lord. However, when he was gone, a greater part of the sheep turned away from their Lord without realizing it. And so the leader of the sheep took other sheep with it, and came to those sheep which had fallen away, and began to slay them. And the sheep feared its presence, and thus that sheep brought back those sheep that had fallen away, and they returned to their folds. And that sheep became a man and built a house for the Lord of the sheep, and placed all the sheep in that house. And I watched until this sheep, which had met that sheep which led them, died. All the great sheep perished, and little ones arose in their place, and they came to a pasture, and approached a stream of water. Then that sheep, their leader, which had become a man, withdrew from them and also died, and all the sheep looked for it and cried over it. When they left off crying for that sheep, and crossed that stream of water, there arose the two sheep as the new leaders in the place of those which had led them and died. And the sheep came to a good place, and a pleasant and glorious land, where they were satisfied. Sometimes their eyes were opened, and sometimes blinded, until another sheep arose and led them and brought them all back, and their eyes were opened. Then the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars began to devour those sheep until the Lord of the sheep raised up another sheep, a ram from their midst, which led them. And that ram began to butt on either side those dogs, foxes, and wild boars until he had destroyed them all. But then the ram forsook its glory and began to butt those sheep, and trampled on them, and behaved itself unseemly. And the Lord of the sheep raised another ram to be the leader of the sheep instead of that ram which had forsaken its glory. But while being raised, those dogs oppressed the sheep. And the first ram pursued the second ram, and the second ram fled before it, until those dogs pulled down the first ram. Then that second ram arose and led the little sheep, and those sheep grew and multiplied. All the dogs, foxes, and wild boars feared and fled before it, and that ram butted and killed the wild beasts, and those wild beasts had no longer any power among the sheep, and robbed them no more of anything. That ram fathered many sheep and died, and a little sheep became ram in its place, and became prince and leader of those sheep. And their house became great and broad, and a great tower was built on the house for the Lord of the sheep, that the Lord of the sheep stood on that tower whenever they offered a full table before him. But again those sheep erred and went many ways, and forsook their house. And the Lord of the sheep called some from among the sheep and sent them to the sheep, but the deviant sheep began to slay them. One of them was saved and was not slain, and it fled away and cried aloud over the sheep. And they sought to slay it, but the Lord of the sheep saved it from the sheep, and brought it up to me, and caused it to live there. And he sent many other sheep to those sheep, to testify to them and lament over them. And so the Lord of the sheep forsook their house and their tower, and brought much slaughter among the deviant sheep in their herds. He gave them over into the hands of the lions and tigers, and wolves and hyenas, and into the hand of the foxes, and to all the wild beasts, and those wild beasts began to tear those sheep to pieces. And I began to cry aloud with all my power, and to appeal to the Lord of the sheep, because the sheep were being devoured by all the wild beasts. But the Lord remained unmoved, though he saw it, and rejoiced that they were devoured and swallowed and robbed and left them to be devoured in the hand of all the beasts. Finally, the Lord called 70 shepherds, and gave those sheep to them, that they might pasture them. And he spoke to the shepherds and their companions, saying, Let every one of you pasture the sheep from now on, and everything that I shall command you, that do you. And I will deliver them over to you duly numbered, and tell you which of them are to be destroyed, and them will you destroy. And he gave over to them those sheep, and he called another and spoke to him, saying, Observe and mark everything that the shepherds will do to those sheep, for they will destroy more of them than I have commanded them. And every excess destruction which will be done through the shepherds, record how many they destroy according to my command, and how many according to their own caprice. Record against every individual shepherd all the destruction he effects, and read out before me by number how many they destroy, and how many they deliver over for destruction, that I may have this as a testimony against them, and know every deed of the shepherds, that I may comprehend and see what they do, whether or not they abide by my command, which I have commanded them. But they shall not know it, and you shall not declare it to them, nor admonish them, but only record against each individual all the destruction which the shepherds effect, each in his time, and lay it all before me. And I saw that the shepherds began to slay and to destroy more than they were bidden, and they delivered those sheep into the hands of the lions. And the lions and tigers ate and devoured the greater part of those sheep, and the wild boars ate along with them. And they burned that tower of the Lord and demolished the house of the sheep. And all this was written down by the watcher in a book, and read before the Lord of the sheep. The destruction of the sheep continued, for the birds of the sky joined in the slaughter of the sheep. The eagles, the vultures, the kites and the ravens began to devour those sheep. They picked out their eyes and devoured their flesh. And the sheep cried out to no avail, for the birds kept on tearing and swooping down on them and devouring them until the sheep could cry no more and endured their suffering in silence. And I saw that man, who wrote down the names of the shepherds and all about the destruction of the sheep in their hands. He brought them up before the Lord of the sheep and read everything to the Lord. Thus the Lord descended in fury, and all those who saw him ran and fell into the shadow in front of him. The Lord took the staff of his anger and struck the earth, and the earth was split. And the birds of the sky fell and sank in the earth, and it closed over them. A great sword was given to the sheep, and the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field to slay them. And all the beasts and the birds of heaven fled before their face. And the Lord commanded his angels to bring to him all the deviants, beginning with the first star, and all those other stars whose private members were like those of horses. And it was done. For the stars were bound and brought, they were judged and found guilty, and were cast into an abyss, full of fire and flames, and full of pillars of fire. Those shepherds who erred were also judged and found guilty, and they were cast into that fiery abyss. Likewise all those deviant sheep were all judged and found guilty, and cast into the fiery abyss, where they burned, and their bones burned. Then the Lord of the sheep built a new house greater and loftier than that first, and set it up in the place of the first which had been overthrown. All its pillars and ornaments were new and larger than those of the first, and all the sheep were within it. And all the beasts on the earth and birds of heaven began doing homage to those sheep, and making petition to and obeying them in everything. After I had seen all these, those 3 men who were clothed in white and had taken me up by the hand, took me up and set me down in the midst of those righteous sheep before the judgment took place. Those sheep were all white, and their wool was abundant and clean, and the Lord of the sheep rejoiced with great joy. And their eyes were all opened, for there was not one among them that did not see. A white bull was born with very large horns, that all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him and made petitions to him all the time. All their generations were transformed, and they all became white bulls. The first among them became a lamb, and that lamb became a great animal with great black horns on its head, and the Lord of the sheep rejoiced over it and over all the oxen. This is the vision which I saw while I slept, and I awoke and blessed the Lord of righteousness and gave him glory. Then I wept greatly on account of the terrible things I had seen. For everything shall come to pass and be fulfilled. for all the deeds of men in their order have been shown to me. Having narrated all his terrible visions to his son Methuselah, Enoch said to him, "And now, my son Methuselah, call to me all your brothers and gather together to me all the sons of your mother. For the word calls me, and the Spirit is poured out on me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever." And thereon Methuselah went and summoned all his brothers and assembled his relatives. And so Enoch spoke to all his children and said, "Hear, you sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken as you should to the voice of my mouth. For I exhort you and say to you, beloved, love righteousness and walk in it, and draw near to righteousness without a double heart, and do not associate with those of a double heart, but walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on good paths, and righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on the earth, and a great punishment will be executed on the earth. It shall be cut off from its roots, and its whole construct will be destroyed. Yet unrighteousness shall again be complete on the earth, and all the deeds of unrighteousness and of violence and sin shall prevail a second time. And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence in all kinds of deeds increase, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement shall come from heaven on all these, and the Holy Lord will come out with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on earth. In those days violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove them from the whole earth. And the heathen shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in wrath and in grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall arise from their sleep, and wisdom shall arise and be given to them. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness, and those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword. Now I shall tell you of the 10 weeks of judgment that shall surely come to pass. I was born in the first week of judgment, when able judgment and righteousness still endured. This first week of judgment spoken of is the time of Enoch, the antediluvian age, the time before the great flood. And Enoch continues saying, "And after my time there shall arise in the second week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end. In it also a man shall be saved, and after it is ended unrighteousness shall again increase, and a law shall be made for the sinners." This second week of judgment spoken of is the time of Noah and the great flood, the time of the great cleansing. After that, in the third week at its close, a man shall be elected as the plant of righteous judgment, and his posterity shall become the plant of righteousness forevermore. This third week of judgment spoken of is the time of Abraham. And after that, in the fourth week, at its close, visions of the holy and righteous shall be seen, and a law for all generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. This fourth week of judgment spoken of is the time of the prophet Moses. After that, in the fifth week at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. This fifth week of judgment spoken of is the time of the great King Solomon of Jerusalem. And after that, in the sixth week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all of them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and at its close the house of dominion shall be burned with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. This sixth week of judgment spoken of is the time of Jesus Christ, when Christ shall ascend, the temple burned and the elect scattered. After that, in the seventh week shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate. And at its end The elected ones of the eternal plant of righteousness shall be chosen to receive sevenfold instruction concerning all of the Lord's creation. For who is there of all the children of men that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? This 7th week of judgment spoken of is the time of the apostate, the time of the judgment of fire. And after this there will be another week, the 8th, that of righteousness. And a sword will be given to it, so that righteous judgment may be executed on those who do wrong. And the sinners will be handed over into the hands of the righteous. And at its end they will acquire houses because of their righteousness, and a house will be built for the great King in glory, forever. This 8th week of judgment spoken of is the time of the sword, when a new heaven and a new earth shall be revealed. After this, in the 9th week, the righteous judgment will be revealed to the whole world, and all the deeds of the impious will vanish from the whole earth. And the world will be written down for destruction, and all men will look to the path of uprightness. This 9th week of judgment speaks of the time of the great and final judgment. And after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there will be an eternal judgment that will be executed on the watchers, and the great eternal heaven will spring from the midst of the angels. And the first heaven will vanish and pass away, and a new heaven will appear, and all the powers of heaven will shine forever, with light 7 times as bright. This 10th week of judgment speaks of the eternal days, when the Lord God's power and kingdom shall reign supreme and forever. These are the 10 weeks of judgment. And after this, there will be many weeks without number, forever in goodness and in righteousness. And from then on, sin will never again be mentioned. And now hearken to me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and walk not in the paths of violence. For all who walk in the paths of unrighteousness shall perish forever. Let not your spirit be troubled on account of the times, for the Holy and Great One has appointed days for all things. And sin shall perish in darkness forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books, for he said, concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of righteousness, I will speak these things. I, Enoch, will declare them to you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in heavenly vision, and which I have known through the word of the holy angels, and have learned from heavenly tablets. And now I say to you, my sons, love righteousness and walk in it, because the paths of righteousness are worthy of acceptance, but the paths of unrighteousness shall suddenly be destroyed and vanish. And to certain men of a generation shall the paths of violence and of death be revealed, and they shall hold themselves afar from them, and shall not follow them. And now I say to you, the righteous, walk not in the paths of wickedness, nor in the paths of death, and draw not near to them, lest you be destroyed. But seek and choose for yourselves righteousness and an elect life, and walk in the paths of peace, and you shall live and prosper. And keep my words in the thoughts of your hearts, and permit them not to be erased from your hearts. For I know that sinners will tempt men to evilly entreat wisdom, so that no place may be found for her, and temptation will increase. Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression, and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Woe to those who build their houses with sin, for from all their foundations shall they be overthrown, and by the sword shall they fall. Woe to you, you rich, for you have trusted in your riches, and from your riches shall you depart, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches. You have committed blasphemy and unrighteousness, and have become ready for the day of slaughter, and the day of darkness, and the day of the great judgment. Thus I speak and tell you, he who has created you will overthrow you, and for your fall there shall be no compassion, and your Creator will rejoice at your destruction. And your righteousness shall be a reproach to the sinners and the godless in those days. You who are righteous, fear not the sinners, for again the Lord will deliver them into your hands, that you may execute judgment on them according to your desires. Woe to you who speak against God, which cannot be reversed. Healing shall be far from you because of your sins. Woe to you who repay your neighbor with evil, for you shall be repaid according to your works. Woe to you, lying witnesses, and to those who weigh out injustice, for you shall suddenly perish. Woe to you, sinners who persecute the righteous, for you shall be delivered up and persecuted because of injustice, and your yoke shall be heavy on you. Be hopeful, you who are righteous, for suddenly shall the sinners perish before you, and you shall have lordship over them according to your desires. And in the day of the tribulation of the sinners, your children shall mount and rise as eagles, and your nests shall be higher than the vultures. You shall ascend as badgers and enter the crevices of the earth, and the clefts of the rock forever before the unrighteous. And the satyrs and sirens shall sigh and weep because of you. Wherefore fear not, you that have suffered, for healing shall be your portion, and a bright light shall enlighten you, and the voice of rest you shall hear from heaven. Woe to you, you sinners, for your riches make you appear like the righteous, but your hearts convict you of being sinners, and this fact shall be a testimony against you for a memorial of your evil deeds. Woe to you who devour the finest of the wheat, and drink wine in large bowls and the best of waters, and tread underfoot the lowly and humble with your might. Woe to you who drink water from every fountain, for suddenly shall you be consumed and wither away, because you have forsaken the fountain of life. Woe to you who work unrighteousness and deceit and blasphemy. It shall be a memorial against you for evil. Woe to you, you mighty, who with might oppress the righteous, for the day of your destruction is coming. Believe, you who are righteous, that the sinners will become a shame and perish in the day of unrighteousness. Be it known to you, you sinners, that the Most High is mindful of your destruction, and the angels of heaven rejoice over your destruction. What will you do, you sinners, and where shall you flee on that day of judgment, when you hear the voice of the prayer of the righteous? And in those days the prayer of the righteous shall reach to the Lord. And for you the days of your judgment shall come, and all the words of your unrighteousness shall be read out before the great Holy One, and your faces shall be covered with shame, and he will reject every work which is grounded on unrighteousness. Woe to you who acquire silver and gold in unrighteousness and say, we have become rich with riches and have possessions, and have acquired everything we have desire. And now let us do what we proposed, for we have gathered silver, and many are the servants in our houses, and our granaries are full to the brim as if with water. Like water your lies shall flow away, for your riches shall not abide but quickly depart from you. For you have acquired it all in unrighteousness, and you shall be given over to a great curse. And now I swear to you, to the wise and to the foolish, that you shall have many experiences on the earth. For you men shall put on more adornments than a woman, and coloured garments more than a young woman. Like royalty, and in grandeur, and in power, and in silver, and in gold, and in purple, and in splendour, and in food, they shall be poured out as water. Therefore they shall have neither knowledge nor wisdom, and because of this they shall die together with their possessions, and with all their glory and their splendour, and in shame and in slaughter, and in great destitution, their spirits shall be thrown into the furnace of fire. I have sworn to you, you sinners, just as a mountain has not become a slave, and a hill does not become the servant of a woman, that is the same way sin has not been sent on the earth. But man of himself has created it, and they that commit it shall fall under a great curse. Barrenness has not been given to the woman, but on account of the deeds of her own hands she dies without children. I have sworn to you, you sinners, by the Holy Great One, that all your evil deeds are revealed in heaven, and that none of your wrong deeds of oppression are covered and hidden. And do not think in your spirit, nor say in your heart, that you do not know and that you do not see that every sin is recorded every day in heaven, in the presence of the Most High. From now on, you know that all your wrongdoing that you do will be written down every day, until the day of your judgment. Woe to you, you fools, for through your folly you shall perish. And you do not listen to the wise, so no good will come to you against the wise. And so, and now, know you that you are prepared for the day of destruction. Therefore, do not hope to live, you sinners, but you shall depart and die, for there will be no ransom for you, because you are prepared for the day of the great judgment, for the day of tribulation and great shame for your spirits. Woe to you, you obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood, even with all the good things which the Lord the Most High has placed in abundance on the earth. Therefore you shall have no peace. Woe to you who love the deeds of unrighteousness. Woe to you who rejoice in the distress of the righteous, for no grave shall be dug for you. Woe to you who say the words of the wise are empty, for you shall have no hope of life. Woe to you who write down lying and godless words, for they write down their lies, so that men may hear them and act godlessly towards their neighbor. Therefore they shall have no peace, but die a sudden death. Woe to you who do godless acts, and praise and honor lies. You shall perish, and no happy life shall be yours. Woe to them who pervert the words of righteousness, and transgress the eternal law, and count themselves as sinless. They shall be trodden under foot on the earth. In those days make ready, you righteous, to raise your prayers as a memorial, and place them as a testimony before the angels, that they may place the sin of the sinners for a reminder before the Most High. In those days the nations shall be stirred up, and the families of the nations shall arise on the day of destruction. And in those days the destitute shall go and throw their children out, and they shall abandon them, so that their children shall perish because of them. They shall abandon their children that are still suckling babies, and not return to them, and shall have no pity on their loved ones. Again, I swear to you, you sinners, that sin is prepared for a day of unceasing bloodshed. And they who worship stones, and carved images of gold and silver and wood and stone and clay, and those who worship impure spirits and demons, and all kinds of idols not according to knowledge, shall get no manner of help from them. And they shall become godless by reason of the folly of their hearts, and their eyes shall be blinded through the fear of their hearts and through visions in their ambitions. Woe to you who spread evil to your neighbors, for you shall be slain in hell. Woe to you who make your foundation that of deceitful sin and lies, and who cause bitterness on the earth, for they shall thereby be utterly consumed. Woe to you who build your houses through the hard labor of others, and all their building materials are the bricks and stones of sin. I tell you, you shall have no peace. In those days in one place the fathers together with their sons shall kill one another, and brothers shall fall in death together, until the streams flow with their blood. For a man shall not withhold his hand from killing his sons and his sons' sons, and the sinner shall not withhold his hand from his honored brother, until they kill one another. Woe to you sinners, on the day of strong anguish, you who afflict the righteous and burn them with fire. You shall be requited according to your works. Woe to you, you obstinate of heart, who watch in order to devise wickedness. Therefore shall fear come on you, and there shall be none to help you. Woe to you, you sinners, on account of the words of your mouth, and on account of the deeds of your hands which your godlessness has caused. For in blazing flames burning worse than fire shall you burn. And now know that the angels will ask him in heaven about your deeds, and from the sun and from the moon and from the stars they will ask about your sins, because on the earth you execute judgment on the righteous. Observe heaven, you children of heaven, and every work of the Most High, and fear him, and work no evil in his presence. If he closes the windows of heaven, and withholds the rain and the dew from falling on the earth on your account, what will you do then? And if he sends his anger on you because of your deeds, you cannot petition him. For you spoke proud and arrogant words against his righteousness, therefore you shall have no peace. Don't you see the sailors of the ships, how their ships are tossed back and forth by the waves, and are shaken by the winds, and are in great trouble? And therefore they are afraid, because all their nice possessions go on the sea with them, and they have bad feelings in their heart, that the sea will swallow them, and they will perish therein. Are not the entire sea and all its waters and all its movements the work of the Most High? And has he not set limits to its actions, and confined it throughout by the sand? And at his reproof it fears and dries up, and all its fish die and all that is in it. But you sinners that are on the earth fear him not. Has he not made heaven and the earth, and all that is in it? Who has given understanding and wisdom to everything that moves on the earth and in the sea? Do not the sailors of the ships fear the sea? Yet you sinners do not fear the Most High. In those days, if he sent a horrible fire on you, where will you flee, and where will you find deliverance? And when he launches out his word against you, will you not be shaken and be afraid? And all the luminaries shall be shaken with great fear, and all the earth shall be afraid and tremble and be alarmed. And all the angels shall execute their commands and shall seek to hide themselves from the presence of he who is great in glory, and the children of earth shall tremble and shake. And you sinners shall be cursed forever, and you shall have no peace. Fear you not, you souls of the righteous, and fear not, you who have died in righteousness. And don't grieve if your soul has descended into the grave in grief, and that in your life you were not rewarded according to your goodness. But wait for the day of the judgment of sinners, and for the day of cursing and chastisement. Now therefore I swear to the righteous, by the glory of the great and honoured and mighty one who reigns, I swear to you, I know this mystery. I have read the heavenly tablets, and have seen the holy books, and have found written in it and inscribed regarding them, that all goodness and joy and glory are prepared for them, and written down for the spirits of those who have died in righteousness. And that much good shall be given to you in reward for your labours, and that your lot is abundant beyond the lot of the living. I swear to you that in heaven the angels remember you for good before the glory of the Great One, and your names are written before the glory of the Great One. Be hopeful, for before you were put to shame through sickness and affliction, but now you shall shine as the lights of heaven. You shall shine, and you shall be seen, and the doors of heaven shall be opened to you. And in your cry for judgment, and it shall appear to you. For all your tribulation shall be visited on the rulers and on all who helped those who plundered you. Be hopeful, and do not throw away your hopes, for you shall have great joy as the angels of heaven. What will you have to do? You shall not have to hide on the day of the great judgment, and you shall not be found as sinners. And the eternal judgment shall not come to you for all the generations eternally. And now fear not, you righteous, when you see the sinners growing strong and prospering in their ways. Do not be their companions, but keep away from their violence. For you shall become companions of the hosts of heaven. Some days after Enoch spoke with his son Methuselah, Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his son's body was white as snow and lips as red as the blooming of a rose, and the hair of his head and his long curls were white as wool, and his eyes so beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lit up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And on it he levitated in the hands of the midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled, and came to his father Methuselah, and said to him, I have begotten a strange son, different and unlike man, and resembling the sons of the God of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us, and his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his face is glorious. And it seems to me that he did not spring from me but from the angels. And I fear that in his days a wonder may be performed on the earth. And now, my father, I am here to ask you and beg you that you may go to Enoch, our father, and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling place is among the angels. And when Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to Enoch to the ends of the earth. For he had heard that Enoch was there, and he cried aloud, and Enoch heard his voice, and came to him, and said to him, Behold, here am I, my son. why have you come to me?" And Methuselah answered and said, "Because of a great cause of anxiety have I come to you, and because of a disturbing vision have I approached. And now, my father, hear me. To Lamech, my son, there has been born a son, the like of whom there is none other. And his nature is not like man's nature, and the colour of his body is whiter than snow, his lips redder than the bloom of a rose, and the hair of his head is whiter than white wool, and his eyes are like the rays of the sun. And he opened his eyes, and the whole house lit up. And he levitated in the hands of the midwife, and opened his mouth and blessed the Lord of heaven. And his father Lamech became afraid and fled to me, and did not believe that he was sprung from him, but that he was in the likeness of the angels of heaven. And now I have come to you that you may make known to me the truth." And Enoch answered and said to him, "The Lord will do a new thing on the earth, and this I have already seen in a vision, and made known to you that in the generation of my father Jared some of the angels of heaven violated the word of the Lord. They committed sin and broke the law, and have united themselves with women in lust, and committed sin with them, and have married some of them, and have had children by them. And they shall produce on the earth giants not according to the Spirit, but according to the flesh. And there shall be a great punishment on the earth, and the earth shall be cleansed from all impurity. There shall come a great destruction over the whole earth, and there shall be a flood, a deluge, a great destruction for 1 year. And this son who has been born to you shall be left on the earth, and his 3 children shall be saved with him. When all mankind that are on the earth shall die, he and his sons shall be saved. And now make known to your son Lamech that he who has been born is in truth his son, and call his name Noah, for he shall be left to you, and he and his sons shall be saved from the destruction, which shall come on the earth on account of all the sin and all the unrighteousness, which shall be full on the earth in his days. And after that flood, there shall be more unrighteousness than that which was done before on the earth. For I know the mysteries of the holy ones. For he, the Lord, has shown me and informed me, and I have read them in heavenly tablets. And I saw written about them that generation after generation shall transgress, until a generation of righteousness arises, and transgression is destroyed, and sin passes away from the earth, and all manner of good comes on it. And now, my son, go and make known to your son Lamech that this son which has been born is in truth his son, and this is no lie." And when Methuselah had heard the words of his father Enoch, for he had shown to him everything in secret, he returned and showed those things to his son Lamech, and named his newborn grandson Noah, for he will comfort the earth after all the destruction.